Hey everybody, Dog here. I thought I'd make a special CD for you to go along with this month's edition of Beyond the Mic. So I have on the phone with me right now my good friend Nick Fosberg. Nick owns, runs, and operates Casey's Pub in Loves Park, Illinois. He is the creator of Bar Owner Marketing Systems, which you can find at barownermarketingsystems.com. He is also the creator of Bar Owner TV, which is an awesome resource for bar owners and managers. Nick has also written the books The Ultimate Direct Marketing Course for Bar Owners and Double Your Profits and Loyal Regulars in Any Economy. And he has been cool enough to contribute to my monthly newsletter. Have I missed anything, Nick?
No, I think you got it covered there.
Right on. So, and I'm really impressed with a lot of what you put out there. And I've read a lot of your stuff, Nick, and you say the most important job of any bar owner is being a great marketer. So What do you mean by that?
What I learned, part of the story, I guess, that you haven't said was I was once a struggling bar owner. I almost did lose my bar 3-4 years back, and that was due to because what I thought was a bad economy and people not having money to go out and spend. And I ended up doing what a lot of bar restaurant owners won't do, and I went out and looked for help. I started buying marketing books, and I even started going to seminars, and I got so intrigued, started learning new concepts and using them and increasing my business. I then started working with a marketing coach, and with all of that, everything that I was doing for a good 6, 8, 9 months of just, pretty much becoming a marketing junkie, I learned from, especially my mentors and people who I was learning from, that, that they were telling me, you are not a bar owner. What you really are is a marketer of your bar. And that goes with just any business, So if there's any bar owners on the phone who do own, another business, because I know a few others that do, a lot of other bar owners do work in other niches of other businesses. But, the most important and profitable job you have as a bar owner, any business owner, is being a great marketer. You could have the best bar in the world, you could have the best product in the world, but if you don't get that out to your area, to your niche target people, they won't know. So it's all about the marketing, because the only way to attract brand new paying customers, or even to get your existing customers to keep coming back and back over and over, is to, market to them and target them directly.
So you covered there why marketing is important. So even for small town bars, that's what I hear a lot, where the bar owner or manager says, well, we live in a small town. That stuff might work in Rockford or Chicago, but it won't work here. So what would you have to say to someone who claims that this style of direct marketing would not work even where they live?
I've had that answer multiple times from other bar restaurant owners, small town bar restaurant owners, and I've helped a lot of them out and helped a lot of them double their business. But it all comes down to this: marketing is marketing, no matter where you're at. The only way to drive in new paying customers is to spend a little bit of money on marketing or targeting the right people. But now for a bar owner who only has, let's say they live in a town of just 200, 300, 400 people, and everybody in that area knows that bar and every other bar around them, okay? Well, a lot of these people choose their favorite bar, maybe who they have a closer relationship with that owner, because in a smaller town, everybody seems to know everybody from what I'm told from these small town bar owners.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, and with marketing, the reason why you still need to market is because you can still create a relationship through your marketing, which we can get into later in the call. But if you have something exciting going on, the only way you're going to take the people who go to their competitor's bar, the only way you can grab them and get them into your bar is by sending them some kind of message, sending them some kind of offer to bribe them to get them to come into your bar. So, it's a stigma, I think, that stands with a lot of small town bar owners that, the people who come in, they're going to come in all the time. My regulars are going to come in all the time. And that's true. You don't necessarily have to market to them all the time, which it is a good time to give them offers, keep them coming back, and keep that loyalty going. But if you want new customers, if you want your competition's customers, if you want to double your customers, you have to spend money or find ways, low-cost ways or even free ways to target those other people to get them into your doors.
You know, what amazes me is that I actually use this style of marketing, and I'm presenting my shows in small towns. So I'm targeting the bar's customers, you know, and the people that live in that community and surrounding areas. And I use things like lead generation offers to build my email list. I offer people a free DVD. And since I started doing marketing like that, it's a little bit more grassroots, and it's not very expensive at all. It's very cost effective, but it helps me build a list of followers. And then the night that I'm performing there, for instance, I'm able to attract a bigger crowd. So I actually use this style of marketing when I'm presenting shows, but it's difficult sometimes to say, hey, use this style of marketing also with other events that you're producing or food specials or anything else. And sometimes I feel like that the insight is coming from a comedian, that it doesn't necessarily have a whole lot of weight to it, but it really does work.
No, yeah, it definitely works, and that's all I teach, and that's really what doubled my business. Is that's exactly what I learned from, you know, my marketing coaches, was all about, you know, targeting the right prospect, who you want to go after, because what most bar restaurant owners do, who they use what I call mass media advertising, TV, radio, newspaper, where you use some kind of media that blasts out to just thousands and thousands of people from a half mile to, you know, 15, 20 miles from your bar, depending on, you know, the area that you're in. But they try to hit everybody with a certain offer or message, and really there's only a certain clientele that goes to certain bars and restaurants. And what I learned is you really need to pinpoint people. People who go to bars or restaurants literally don't drive any more than 3 miles if they're going to a bar, if they're going to be drinking and driving, or if they are going to a restaurant. Stats show, and I read this through the National Restaurant Association, people don't like to drive more than 5 miles. So my marketing coach, he says, why are you spending money targeting people 10 miles away, 15 miles away, if, you know, you have a very, 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 very slim chance of even getting them in your doors? Why not focus on people within a mile, 2 mile, 3 mile radius from your bar? You know, so that kind of marketing where you target a certain crowd, you know, definitely works as long as you have a great offer to compel them with to get them into your bar.
So how do you target to that market? What are some of the methods you use to hit that targeted market?
Well, you know, the first thing I always start out with is it all depends on what I'm trying to promote, what I'm trying to do. So if I'm trying to pick up, let's say if I'm working with a new client, and you know, they want to pick up their Wednesday night for wings, or we'll just use that for example. They want to pick up a Wednesday night for Wing and Wednesday or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Well, I always ask them, okay, we're using wings, a cheap wing special, maybe even a draft beer special to get people in. And I ask them, who is your best customer? If someone had a gun to your head and they said, who is your best customer that's going to come in for this promotion? And, you know, I want that exact type of person. Who is that? Describe them. That's exactly who you need to target. So, for instance, that would be probably, you know, for most bars and restaurants would be males, anywhere from maybe 25, 28 up to 40, 45 years old. You know, it all depends on the different bar. The bar owner knows their crowd. But then what you can do is you can buy a mailing list of exactly those types of people. So you can buy a list of males that live within a 2-mile radius from your bar, from the ages of 25 to, you know, 45 years old, or whatever age range you want to go after. And you can even get as specific as if they have good credit, or if they live in a home, or if they live in a house that's worth $100,000 to $200,000, or if they make $50,000 a year to, you know, $90,000 a year. So you can get that specific. And you would want to get that specific because you obviously want to go after people who have money. You don't want to really go after the low-income type of people if you do have a nicer restaurant or bar or average neighborhood bar or restaurant. Now, there are bars and restaurants out there who do cater to a demographics of people who don't have that much money. In those types of bar restaurants, they would want to target those types of people because they're obviously not going to get high-end people walking into a low-income type bar restaurant. So every bar attracts a certain crowd, and it's not bad if you do cater to lower-income people. Bars and restaurants all have to cater to a certain crowd. There's the high end, there's the low end, and then there's the middle class. And everybody caters to everybody, so it's not bad whether you're on the high end or the low end. So I don't want to try to make anybody feel bad at all because everybody needs a certain bar or restaurant to go to that caters to a certain demographics of people. That's
Absolutely.
just how the way the world works.
Yeah, and some of my best gigs have been in like neighborhood dive bars.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think that's what you're hitting on is that instead of spending or wasting money on the mass media style of marketing or advertising, newspapers and yellow pages and radio, which I'm on the radio, so it's even it's hard to say that, but I can understand the exposure that people would get, but it's more effective to actually spend a few bucks to do a direct mailing exactly to the right person that you would be catering your bar towards.
Yeah, exactly. It's that, and then when you're trying to get new customers, anytime I try to go after new customers, the only thing I will ever use is direct mail because you can pinpoint exactly who you want to go after. Or the other thing that I'll do, which is pretty much free, is I will joint venture with another small business owner that is a non-competing business who is willing to, hand out some offers for me to have price food or a free meal ticket or, 20% off on your tab, whatever it is, some kind of offer to get people in the door. Now, the reason why that joint venture partner, that other small business, would be willing to do this is because it provides more value to their customers. If I had a new gym or a new tanning salon open up within my area, and they came to me and said, "Hey, I want to offer every one of your bar patrons a free 30-day membership to the gym, or free tanning, or a free haircut, or a free car wash, whatever it is." I would do that all day long because it's just an extra offer, an extra incentive that I can give to my customers, and they're not competing with me. So there's a lot of different things you can do to get new customers in the door, but if you're going to spend any kind of money at all, direct mail is the only way to go after new customers.
Okay, and I know that for sure. I book a lot of my gigs through direct mail campaigns, and I definitely will, am an advocate for that style because even though the radio gets me exposure for my content, what actually gets me gigs at even, at the casinos and the colleges is by sending a direct mail piece that makes us an offer for a free DVD or something along those lines. And then the next one is a follow-up letter that makes an offer for a show at a certain time of the year. And by hitting enough of those types of places where I know my audience will congregate, I have tremendous success. And it's the exact same type of audience that, if you look at it this way, is my audience are your customers.
Exactly.
We're trying to attract the same people. So this stuff really does work. But what I hear a lot of is from bar owners and managers who say they don't have time to do all this marketing. What
I will say on that, and there's really two things I would say, but I get that all the time from bar restaurant owners. I just don't have the time to do this. And really, you need to think about is, they complain about not making enough money. They complain about not having customers, and they want to put all the blame on the economy, just like I did. I'm at fault. I used to be at fault for this as well. But, the only way to increase your sales and profits is by marketing and promotions. That's the only way. So if these bar restaurant owners don't have the time to figure out how to bring in new paying customers, they should not be a business owner is the way that I look at it. And that's what I tell every person that kind of tells me the same thing. It's like, you are not in the bar business. You're in the marketing business. Every business is that way. If you want to make money, you need to market. You need to sell. And that's kind of the mindset that I put in their minds, and then they kind of realize, oh, yeah, you know what, you're right. Instead of me bartending, doing a $6 to $7 an hour job, or instead of me cooking at a $8 to $10 an hour job, maybe I should focus on how I can bring an extra 30, 40, 50 new customers in here every single week that's going to spend $10, $15, $20. Now, that's a much more profitable job. So, there's the bar owners who can think that way and then do it themselves, or the other thing, and it's the reason why they come to me, is because they just want it handled for them. They don't want to learn how to become a great marketer. It is time-consuming, but it all depends on the motivation, determination that you have. If some of them have the money to hire it out, to have somebody do the marketing for them, or they need to learn this stuff on their own, and it's really not that hard. It does take a little bit of time, but it's by far the most important and profitable job you can do. But once you learn that, once you learn how to be a good marketer and understand how to attract new paying customers with little risk or little investment, it's all about the long term look at your business. It might take a month, it might take 2-3 months actually, to be honest, but you need to think of how long do I plan on being in business. If you plan on owning your bar over the next 5, 10, 15 years, I would highly suggest taking 2 to 3 months out of your life, 2, 3, 4 hours a week to learn how to be a better marketer. And I have a ton of those free resources, online, where people can get that kind of information, or you can Google stuff. The internet is a great way to find information on that. But for the people who don't have the time, that's just an excuse, and they've lost their motivation. They're bored with their business. And that's really the simple answer. And I'm sorry to be blunt, but that's really what it is.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. And I would even say, if it's not something you want to do yourself, you at least need to learn the fundamentals and the basics, so when you do delegate the marketing, you know that it's being done properly, and you're not, giving your money to a radio rep or a Yellow Pages rep who's going to design an ad that's not effective.
Exactly. It honestly doesn't take long. I think 10 hours of maybe even just 5 hours of learning about direct response marketing, or going to my website, Bar Owner TV or Bar Owner Marketing Systems, and getting those, the overall view of what direct marketing is and how to make it work in the bar business. You can go on Google and look up direct marketing and see how it works for all different types of businesses. But what I've kind of brought to the industry is exactly what works in the bar restaurant business, because I've doubled my business from direct response marketing, but then I've also taken this to other bar owners in all parts of the country, small town to, large cities, where this stuff works. And it's all down to, the 3 key components of marketing. It's all about your market, your message, and your media. And your market is exactly what we've been talking about. Who are you going to target? Who's your best customer? Who do you want in your bar? So picking your target and then creating a message, which is really an offer. What kind of offer is going to grab your market, your target market, and get them into your door? And then it's all about, once you figure those 2 things out, okay, what's the best media to pinpoint exactly who you want to hit with your message or your offer? And like I said, with new customers, it's all about direct mail, because you can pinpoint exactly who you want to go after. But, I will say this. If you are running some kind of promotion, like a country night or a rock night or something like that, and you got country DJs coming in, country DJs or country bands or rock DJs, whatever it is, I then do use the radio, because that audience is listening to that kind of music, and those are the types of people I'm trying to attract. So it's kind of hard for you. You can't. I don't know. In certain areas, you can't buy a list of people who listen to country music. But what you could do is go to that radio station and say, hey, because they always capture people's information, just like every single business should be doing. So if you can work out a deal with the country station and say, hey, I want to pay you $200, $300, $400, $500, $600 to buy your list of country music people who have signed up online to get their addresses, and now you can send a postcard to them. Now you're targeting exactly who you want to hit. So it's all about targeting, creating a good message to get them in, and using the right media to get to your target prospect.
That's exactly it. And can I just add to the radio strategy a little bit?
Yeah.
One thing that I found, I'm not going to knock radio. I'm on radio, but what I found that it works actually is instead of random broadcasts of the name of the bar or even the specials that are going on, is to either have what you're doing, targeting specific events for specific stations, and then running, essentially mini promotions leading up to that event. Or what works really good in some of the smaller towns is being able to establish a relationship with the radio station where they might be looking for content at a certain time of day, and these are small town stations where there's not exactly a whole lot of on-air talent to pick and choose from, but they might like to have a bar owner come in once a week and talk about how to make, interesting margaritas, or do some sort of educational piece about wine or beer, or something funny and tell funny stories about what happened that week when the game was on, or things of that nature. And I know a few bar owners that actually use that in some of their small towns, where they just hop on the station and they talk about their place, but they do it week after week after week after week, and they kind of become little mini celebrities within their community.
Yeah, and that is a great strategy because it also builds up credibility within the community. Because when people hear the radio or the news, that just builds, just like you said, a celebrity status. And you wouldn't be in the news, you wouldn't be on the radio, you wouldn't be in the newspaper, if it wasn't something important. And people respect that. It builds credibility as long as it's good news. As far as press releases and things like that going out, which we don't have to get into too much of that. But, with what you said is if a bar or restaurant owner can get a hold of those radio stations to do something either weekly or monthly, that builds credibility, and it's free exposure,
Absolutely, and that's what I found is the key for me to develop a following, and I've seen that done across the board in all industries, so why wouldn't that work for even a small town owner in a small bar or in an area that's not very well, super populated, but they do have the one or two local radio stations that broadcast to those people, and then start establishing a rapport that way, the same way you would use a newsletter or email blasts or text messaging or things like that.
Yeah, no, exactly. You got it right on.
So that said, what about newsletters? Do you send your customers newsletters? Once you get them in the door, how do you maintain keeping them, keeping their contact information, getting their contact information, and then maintaining a relationship with them to keep them as loyal regulars?
Yeah, one of the most important things I learned, most important and profitable job any bar or restaurant owner has, besides marketing, is capturing every single person's information that walks in your bar. Small town, big town, large city, whatever it is, because people who gladly hand over their contact information to you, they're 7 to 10 times more profitable to market to than anybody else on the planet. So, and the other thing you got to think about, people are not going to hand over their name, their email, their home address, cell phone number, the birthday, whatever information you're asking for, if they don't like and trust you. People do business with people who they like and trust. And, anytime I start working with a new client, tell them, hey, the first thing we need to start doing is building a customer list and create some kind of incentive program or some kind of offer to get this kind of information. And they tell me, well, I've already tried this and it didn't work. I only got, people didn't want to hand over their information to me. They didn't want to do this. Well, the reason why they didn't do this is mainly for two reasons. Number one, you didn't have a good enough offer or good enough bribe. People are not going to hand over their information for a T-shirt. They're not going to hand over their information for a half-price appetizer. They're not going to hand over their information for, some kind of value that's $2, $3, $4, a coffee mug or a beer mug. So it has to be something valuable to them. And I always suggest doing a $10, $15, $20 gift card or doing a monthly $10 gift card. You look at all these big corporations now, you go to gas stations, grocery stores, Best Buy, all these big places, and what do they all have in common? Every single one of them has some kind of points rewards program or loyalty program. Why are they doing this? Because they have people who make millions of dollars a year to study this stuff to see what works, and loyalty programs work. Otherwise, they would not be doing this. Now, the other reason why it wouldn't be working is because the bar owner, the bar managers are not staying on top of their staff. So maybe they have a good offer. Maybe they're doing $10 a month in free gift cards. Maybe they're doing a free meal a month. Maybe they have a good bribe. But, the first, what I teach my clients is they need to, when they sit down with a bar or when they sit down with their staff and get this loyalty program going, as soon as somebody orders a drink or orders food, they put that loyalty sheet in front of them and say, hey, take a look at this. You don't have to sign up for this, but it's a great value. Take a look at it. Fill it out if you want to. If not, don't worry about it. And with the loyalty programs I create, at least 70 to 80% of the people sign up into this. But, one of the key factors is making sure that your staff is on point with every time somebody walks in that door. As long as they're not a loyal regular and that they have a loyalty card or they've signed up, your most important profitable job is making sure you get their information. So what I do is once we capture that information, I do it in-house that way, and then I also do a lot of Facebook promotions online where you could easily get 500, 1,000, 2,000 people. I mean, when I've started doing this for certain clients, some people have gotten 200 contacts in just the first day, just from using Facebook, where all that information just goes into the database. And what I set up is, your question about the newsletter is, yes, I do send out a monthly newsletter by email, but also by direct mail with a free gift card or some kind of offer to bring them back in. But the whole purpose of the newsletter is, and when people think newsletter, they might be thinking a 3, 4, 5-page thing, and they hate writing or whatever, which I hate. When I first started doing it, I hated doing that. But, now writing is something that I do every single day for my marketing business and for my clients. But, a newsletter is as simple as just telling people what's coming up in the next following months, what new drink specials, what new food specials, what bands coming in. And a newsletter is all about what's new, what's coming up in March, what's coming up in April, May, June, July. And then, you could always include a funny story of something that happened at the bar. You could do an employee of the month. There's so many different little things you could do, a drink of the month, a joke of the month. But the whole newsletter, the purpose is just to stay in contact and build that relationship with your customer. And one secret, that I tell all my clients that will set them aside from their competition is, it's business, no matter what business you're in, it's all about creating relationships and building trust. And a newsletter is the perfect way to do that. And the way by doing that is to get personal in there. Talk about your life. Talk about your kids. Talk about what's going on with you. The focus that you want to think about is you want people, especially if you're in a big city, small town owners, they know everybody. They've probably grown up with everybody. But, even in bigger cities, if you want to connect with people where if they don't really know you, they feel like they know you. And that's really what the purpose of the newsletter is to build that relationship and tell people what's new and put some kind of offer in them to bring them back in.
So when they're coming in as a first-time customer, what is your staff capturing? Are they capturing an email address? You probably already have their direct mail. Are you getting a text message, joining a texting club? Depend on what the offer is.
Yeah, there's a couple different things. The main way where I try to capture every single person's information is by our loyalty program. So I ask for their first and last name, their home address, their email address, their cell phone, their birth date, and then I also ask them if they consider themselves an early crowd customer, like from 5 to 9, or lunchtime customer, or a 9 to 2 customer. The reason why I ask that is so I can segment my mailing list. So if I have live entertainment coming in one night and the band starts at 9 o'clock, or I got a DJ coming in at 9 o'clock, or if I'm showing the UFC fights that don't start till 9 o'clock and people are there till 10, 11, 12, till close, I don't want to spend money marketing to the people who consider themselves early crowd people. So it's all about targeting those people. I also ask them on my loyalty sign-up sheet if they are interested in getting information about bands that are coming up, or pool leagues, or dart leagues, or anything like that. So when I do start a new pool league, I can pull all the people up who shows that they like playing pool. I can bring up all the people who like playing darts, and I can shoot them a phone call. I can shoot them a text. I can send them a piece of direct mail, and I can email them. I have 4 different ways that I can contact these people, and I can target exactly who I want. I can target just the dart players. I can target just the pool players. So that's how, building lists and getting all this data becomes so valuable, because instead of sending out this message to thousands of people, now I can pinpoint 100 or 50 people of my best prospect to go after, and I don't waste money on everybody else. So
right.
That's the main way that I capture people's information is from my loyalty program. But there are giveaways that I do every month as well. So I've given trips away to Vegas, to Cancun, Bahamas. I've just recently, the last 2 months, once a month, been giving away a 50-inch TV. And the only way people can sign up to get that TV is by handing over their information. And how many people don't want a chance to win that TV? Everybody does. So I get everybody's information that way. And I just compile all these lists together with name, cell phone, email, birthday, and everything. And it's, I've been doing this for the last 4 years. And what's important is, even, you say you build up a list of 1,000, 2,000 people, your most important and profitable job every day that you're in business is keep capturing, keep capturing, keep capturing. Now, most of these people you're going to get, but it's important when you spend money to market to brand new people to get them in your doors, you want to get their information as well to keep building that list.
And you're getting this. It sounds like you're getting as much about that person, specifically whatever the information is that you need to stay in contact with them. You're getting all of that information on your first contact.
Exactly, and people don't mind handing over that information because they're getting a great value. Now, there's some people that don't because they live far away. Some of them come with a friend and they live 10 miles away, 12 miles away, and they know that they're rarely going to come in, which is understandable. Of course you're not going to get that, and you shouldn't be upset if you don't get that information because you don't want a list of people who are not going to show up. You want a list of people who are the most, the most probable to come into your bar, who live close by. And that's what you want. I mean, is everybody going to? No, but I would say 80 to 90% of the people who walk in my doors, who live within a 3 to 5 mile radius of my bar, end up signing up for this program because I make it a no-brainer decision. I have a loyalty program that builds so much value that they can't get anywhere else.
Wow, that's some incredible. That's really some incredible info there, man. I appreciate that.
That's the same exact thing that I do with all the bar owners that I work with. That's the very first thing that we start working with. I call it pretty much the skeleton to your marketing, because now once you have all that information, you can pinpoint these people on any new promotions or specials or anything you have going on, and you can these are the most profitable people to market to on the planet, people who are handing over their information to you. So it's very, very important. Anybody who's not doing it needs to start doing it right away and not even think about it, but start doing it today, not tomorrow.
So, yeah, I mean, you want to start building your list immediately. Why not? And a lot of places probably already have, their regulars and a list. It just might not necessarily be organized as such. But when you start organizing it, and how you talk about, you can segment it depending on what your promotions are or what your offers are. The old people, there's some of them are pretty cool, but most of them that are there for morning coffee probably are not going to be there for the Rated R comedy night, for instance.
Exactly. And Jared, there's one thing I wanted to mention. I hope you don't mind me mentioning this either. Is one thing I just started offering for bar owners who don't know much about technology, don't know much about websites or these loyalty programs. I'm actually doing something for just $100 a month where I create these lists and everything for them from online to offline, where the whole entire list is all segmented. So anytime they do want to do a certain promotion for a certain person, I have all that data accumulated for them and gather that information for them. So if anybody is interested in that, they can go to barownertv.com and contact me. But for $100 a month, I mean, that's pretty cheap, where you really don't have to worry about much of the work at all, and it's just their main goal is just to make sure that their employees ask people to sign up, and it's that easy. And then they just input that information, and it's all just gathered into one database.
So they capture the information on their end, and then you manage it for them.
Exactly. So they capture it on their end in-house, but then I can set everything up automatically online through Facebook and other social media sites, where it's all just downloaded automatically. So they don't even, they're building. I mean, we're building lists of 500, 1,000, 2,000 people within a 2 to 3 month time frame. For some of the bigger towns, but even for the smaller towns, I mean, it's still important to do that. Whether if it's 100 people or 200 people, because you want to bring people from your competition over to your bar. I mean, you obviously want to be bigger, better than your competition. You want to be busier, because that's your business, that's your lifestyle. And obviously, the more customers you have, the more money you're going to make, the happier you're going to be.
And building relationships really is key in any area, or where, no matter where you live or what business you're in. For me, it's essentially the same thing. I need to build a relationship with my audience and my fan base to come to my shows. And in a lot of ways, in the small towns, like you talk about, everybody knows everybody. So the best thing you can do is to build and maintain that list of contacts, if for no other reason than to continue establishing rapport with your best customers over and over again, even if it's a smaller amount because it's in a smaller bar. You might not have a list of 2,000, but if you have a list of 100 and there are 100 really loyal customers, that could there's probably a lot of value in that, I would assume.
Yeah, and Jared, that with what you just said just made me think about something else that's really important to talk about. Just a few weeks ago, I released a new episode on Bar Owner TV about how to create relationships with brand new customers. And I told a story how, I go out to Palm Springs every single year to golf with my godfather, and there's one restaurant I always love going to, and the name of it is called Castelli's. The reason why I go out there, the very first time I was there, the owner was there at the door greeting everybody, shaking everybody's hand. He came over, bought us a drink, and I just felt really welcomed. And that's, one of the reasons why my godfather goes there all the time. And plus, now they're good friends. They golf together and everything. But I thought about this. I said, what if every single customer, think about how this would make you feel real quick, Jared. You walk into a bar that you've never been to before, okay? And the owner or even the manager comes up to you and says, "Hey, I'm Nick Fosberg. Really great to have you in here. I've never seen you in here before. I just wanted to come up and introduce myself and shake your hand, and I would love to buy you your first drink." Now, if you walk into a bar, how would that make you feel? That's if that was to happen to you, you walk into a new place, I mean, wouldn't that make you feel great?
Well, I can tell you from experience, I've walked in fresh off of the street in probably over 2,000 bars, and that has happened maybe 4 times.
Okay, and out of those 4 times, how did that make you feel? What kind of, what kind of experience did you get out of that?
Oh, it's instant rapport. It's instant friendliness. It's instant friendship building.
Exactly, and so if these bar owners, and it's kind of hard to do, you might be a little shy at first, but when you start seeing the results from it, that shyness is going to go right away. And so that's one thing I've tried doing, and I'm not at my bar as much anymore, but my managers, anytime they see a brand new face in there, I want them to go up to them, introduce themselves, and say, hey, I'd like to buy your first drink for you, because that is going to stick in their head, and no other bar or restaurant is doing that in my area. I can guarantee it, because so many people are so stubborn and want every single dime and nickel that they can get. Mm-hmm. But the thing that bar or restaurant owners and a lot of business owners aren't thinking about is the lifetime value of that customer. If you can get that customer to come back once a week and spend $20 with you or $25 with you, and you times that by 50 customers, that's $60,000 a year coming in from just 50 new loyal regulars at $25 a week. So just doing small little things like that, and that costs you what, maybe 30, 40, 50 cents a drink, whatever that they're drinking, maybe $1 at the most.
Right.
So $1 to do that, to get someone to come back and build that relationship with them, very important to do.
Yeah, well, it's what, you heard that old phrase, it's small hinges can swing big doors.
Exactly.
So I know you got to run, man, but I really appreciate it, Nick, for taking the time to do this with me, and I'm going to make a CD and send it out to all of my venues that I perform at. I think they'll find it very helpful. I hope they do. But what are some other resources bar owners can use to convince customers to become loyal regulars, and where can they get more of your stuff?
The best place for them to get more of my stuff would be barowner.tv. So it's not .com, but it's .tv. Think of television, Bar Owner TV. Named it that because it's pretty much a web TV show where every week I'm posting 1 to 2 videos about marketing strategies and promotions. But if you go to products and services page, I have my 42-day bar business transformation program, which is pretty much a whole step-by-step process of what I take each of my private clients on, where they pretty much just, they kind of learn this stuff on their own. Because obviously to hire me personally one-on-one, it is a little more expensive because of I only have so much time. So the bar owners who are kind of on a budget and want good results and want actual marketing examples and everything pretty much handed to them, where it's pretty much what I like to call a toolbox of all my marketing and promotions that they can just take and implement and input their information and send everything out. And there's a lot of extra bonuses, like a free lead capture website to capture people's information with it, free mailing list. There's 4 free mailing lists that come with it, and usually a mailing list is about $200 a piece. And if they go there, they can get that program. And I also have a monthly coaching program on there too. But it's hard to get into telling them everything of what's on there. The best thing would be to just go check it out at barowner.tv. And get all the resources there. And I also have a free report there called Double Your Profits and Loyal Regulars. Great video, great presentation that covers half of the stuff that we went through today, but it also pinpoints exactly the best way to write ads and really to capture the minds of prospects and get them to take you up on your offer.
Yeah, because we can't get into those kinds of details just for, one CD. But I know last night I went onto your website to prepare for this interview and this conversation today, and it is absolutely loaded with some of the best content I've seen as far as how to market to a bar crowd. It's fantastic. So one more time, what's the website?
It's www.barowner.tv. TV.
Awesome. Thanks, man. I'll let you run.
All right. Appreciate it. Thanks.